So, Larry, welcome to the Secret Life of
Thank
Parkinson's. Everybody who's watching has probably seen you on multiple different fronts. So, let me see what I know, and then you list them out. What I skipped. So, you are co-founder of PD Avengers. You are on the Patient Council for the Michael J. Fox Foundation. You started your own podcast. You may have had two of your own podcasts. We'll get to that in a second. So you did the, I just forgot the name of it.
When Life Gives You Parkinson's.
Yes, When Life Gives You Parkinson's. And now you're doing the podcast On Time for the Bryant Grant Foundation.
And I do the Michael J. Fox Foundation podcast.
Oh, do you do that one too?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I know, I'm a busy guy.
But you were in radio broadcasting your entire career, right?
Correct.
So you just kind of slid right in.
Just slip right in. Great.
Welcome to The Secret Life of Parkinson's, a podcast created by people living with Parkinson's to help break the stigma of a disease no one likes to talk about. Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Krauser and Brian Baker. So you were just telling Brian, though, you were diagnosed in 2017 and you just had DBS done?
Yeah, and I love DBS. Boy, I tell you, it's been a life changer. I went from 20 carbidopa with levodopa a day to 2. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm taking a half a pill every 6 hours.
What device do you have in?
I have a Medtronic.
Okay. So it's doing well?
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, it's like...
Oh.
I was not talking to you.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
No.
I was like, yeah, it's all right.
So you guys are
great.
You guys are basically
really
the
cool.
same, though, like in terms of the fact of how
Now
well
we
it
both have
helped.
bumps on our head right here.
Yeah, see my bumps?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I never noticed that.
You let the hair grow a little bit
Let me
longer.
see. Move your fans. I did not know that. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my Shrek look. So I can shave my head and then paint them green and good.
What was like the biggest change? Just the medication? Or did you have a lot of dyskinesia because of the medication?
I did. I had dyskinesia and I had tons of meds. And so I felt like I was taking medicine all the time. Like it was just very
You get to the point where you
disruptive.
can't swallow a pill.
Oh, I hate that.
I got to the point where I just, like physically, I'd sit in my mouth because I couldn't hardly swallow it.
It's like that moment of, I'm going to die right now.
God.
I can't swallow this pill. I would say 80% of my symptoms, both motor and non-motor, have gone away.
Really?
Because of this. Yeah. And they don't talk about the non-motor symptoms because they can't predict them. They can't predict what it's going to affect. But always it affects non-motor.
Did you get that? One of the biggest changes for myself was kind of like that fog that we live in, and we don't even realize it's there. But from all the medication, man, that went away just like that. And I was like, wow.
That was probably why I had to leave radio, is because my executive functioning was so bad and I couldn't focus on anything.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I've been reset.
Well, but how did you feel? Just like, because when did you leave radio? Like, was it because of
It was the Friday before my surgery was when they exited me out the door.
Oh, so you don't know if it's because of the less stress and the combo of DBS or what?
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's been quite a journey, and it's allowed me to sort of repurpose myself and really focus on advocacy.
What other like non-motor functions did you notice?
I was so slow and rigid, so I had those motor symptoms. And then I had anxiety, I had depression. Anxiety was really bad, so bad that I couldn't really sit in a car while my wife was driving without freaking out a little bit. I couldn't go downtown on the train without my walking poles to keep a wide berth. I mean, like I had to leave children's birthday parties because of it. Now I haven't experienced it since the surgery.
But did you take anything for that? Like I had like I don't know if it was both apathy and depression combined or exactly what it was, but it was just this like empty, joyless feeling that I had in the beginning. And so my doctor put me on sertraline or Zoloft at like a low dose, and that helped alleviate that empty feeling that I was having. Did you take anything for it?
Yeah, I've got some venlafaxine.
I don't know.
That was doing a couple of things for me.
Yeah.
helps with depression, but it also helps with sleep and like the active dreaming.
Oh, how is your sleep?
My sleep sucks.
Yeah.
I sleep in downstairs in a room separate from my wife because I was getting really close to hitting her and kicking her, and
Oh.
yeah. So
So does the DBS help with that?
no,
Okay.
didn't touch it.
Yeah, have you tried cannabis at nighttime?
I have tried cannabis.
I mean for medical purposes.
Oh, for medical purposes. Yeah. I don't think I had the right dosage, the mix of the THC and the
CBD.
other.
Yeah.
It was 100% of the non-THC, which is the other one,
CBD.
CBD. It was 100% CBD, and they're like, yeah, you got to activate it somehow. So
Yeah.
I haven't been back to it, but I don't think it might help me get to sleep. I don't know that it's going to help my dreaming.
No, it didn't help. It didn't help my dreams. Like when I'm having trouble sleeping, and I don't do it every night. It's very. I'll take a gummy, like maybe 5 milligrams of indica, and it puts me to sleep, helps me sleep, and when I wake up, it helps me fall right back asleep. So where before
Cool.
I would be up for all night.
Yeah.
Is there any medication for the when people have the sleep?
The RBD.
Yeah.
Not one directly for it. They try to balance you out with different stuff, but like the venlafaxine is the one thing that they gave me that tries to tone it down, but it still happens. I've tried so many different medications for so many different symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were your
Is-
motor symptoms?
Well, my gait was my biggest issue. My gait was like clumpy and wonky,
And DBS helped with that?
oh yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
why did I think it was only just like tremor and rigidity?
It's all motor.
Oh.
Yeah. And then well, it depends on where they place the leads.
So yours was gait?
And they knew my voice was really important to me, so they kept checking to make sure my voice was okay during the surgery because I was awake for the surgery.
Okay.
And they said I had to count, just like 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6. The first time I did, I was like 4, 5, 6. I'm like, oh shit, you just lost my voice.
Oh my God.
And they kept doing it until it came out strong, and they go, "Oh, lock it in."
Wow. This whole process always still just amazes me.
It's so weird. It's the most vulnerable position you can put any one person in.
Yeah. I know Brian said like when he first went through it, he's like, I literally was like getting wheeled back there. He's like, I'm actually having brain surgery right now.
Yeah.
He's like,
I tell people, I was like, it never bothered me because I knew a couple of people that had gone through it until they're pushing me back there. Then I'm like, what in the heck are you doing? So.
Did you have multiple surgeries?
Yeah, so I had the left side was done first, then the right side done a month later, and then a couple weeks later they did the battery install.
Yeah, I did it all in one fell swoop.
I keep hearing that.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit newer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way a lot of.
Well, I think that you live in the States, I live in Canada. That's the difference. In Canada, they don't want you to have too many trips to the hospital because it costs the government. And in the U.S., they want you to come back as often as possible because you have to pay for it.
Well,
But it was it in Florida? We heard of that?
Well, yeah.
Or is it maybe it's just Medtronic?
I don't think so. I don't know. I think it's. I mean, they told me originally they didn't like to do it just because they didn't like keeping people out under that long.
Well, how long were you under for?
He's awake.
Or you? Oh, that's right. You were awake.
I was awake. And then, but battery, I was under for like an hour and a half.
Yeah. So maybe now that they're keeping people awake for the whole surgery, because they would put me out and bring me up.
I thought you were on. I thought you were up.
Not when they do the drilling and all that stuff. They put me out.
Well, the drilling was the most fun part. So what happened was they go, this is what it sounds like. Zzz. They go, this is what it sounds like when it's hitting your head. Zzz. And it's just local. They put local anesthesia back there, and every now and again, you'll just start to feel it. Like I can feel it.
Oh my God.
Okay, hang on.
That's like that's when I was like having.
I'm glad I was put out for that part of it.
When they got all the way through to the other side of the skull, it was almost like air whooshed out. So weird.
Oh my God.
Yeah, not me.
Isn't that gross?
You guys are freaking me out for that.
Just put me out.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I would like it to get done one day, but anyway, so aside from that, so now you are doing a podcast for the Brian Grant Foundation called On
I
Time,
am.
right? How's that
Yes.
going?
Great. Yeah, we just did 4 episodes on stigma. It was really cool.
Oh, really? Oh, good. I'm gonna have to check that out because that is like a
It's
big,
huge.
yeah. It's really big, and it's annoying that it's not going away. I mean, and I don't expect it to overnight, but I don't know. I feel like people have been talking
Well,
about it.
every country, every community has its own kind of stigma too, and then we all bring our own stigma with us.
Yeah.
So you have your personal stigma, and the stories that you tell yourself about how you can't be a good father, or you can't be a good husband, or maybe your work won't want you because you have brain degeneration, and that's all on me. And then there's the people that stop me in the street telling me I shouldn't drink so early in the morning because I'm stumbling all over myself, and that kind of stigma.
Yeah.
And so there's so much to deal with. And then you go to a different country and you have Parkinson's. They can't diagnose you, and they think you've been cursed by a witch. So you just have to figure it out, right?
Yeah, I know. I have heard that about. I met a couple times with Dr. Sonia Mather,
Oh yeah.
who's also PD Avenger co-founder, and she was telling me about. Actually, she was on, I think, on the show, maybe talking about it, that the stigma that people have in other countries, and that it could be really bad, and you get shunned from your, the society in there. So,
Yeah.
but what I heard your last podcast that you did with your wife,
Yes.
When Life Gives You Parkinson. So how long did you guys do that for? It was just like 2 years,
7 years.
7 years? Why did I think it was 2 years?
Started in 2018.
Did you have
6
another
years.
one though? Or was that the only podcast that you two did?
That was the only Parkinson's podcast
Okay.
that I did personally.
Okay. So 7
so
years.
There's like 120 episodes there or something.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we just did another. It was almost like a bonus episode for the Michael J. Fox Foundation. We just recorded this morning.
Uh-huh.
The two of us. They asked us both to do it. For
Aw.
them, so
So she's a trooper.
she's great.
That-
She's amazing.
like, was-
Everybody needs a partner like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I sent Larry an email when we first got introduced, and I still will never forget. I was newly diagnosed, and I was listening to podcasts, which I was never listened to podcasts, but I wanted to learn as much as I could. And I was cutting the grass, and I remember hearing his podcast, and there was somebody else's that I was listening to, and I'm just like crying as I'm cutting the grass. Like, I don't know, like just those emotions in the beginning, they're like just so heavy.
Yeah.
And you're still in that huge fog of like, what is life going to be like? And, now I'm 5 years in, and
We still cried.
yeah. Well, I don't cry that much and actually at all anymore. Something's weird with that like I don't cry. Like,
I go through stages. Like sometimes I get like very emotional, like where I'll start thinking of something or see something on TV, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
then other times I get like years. No,
I know.
no
I feel
heart,
like it's been
no soul.
no heart. I know. My husband's like, dude, he's like
What
a
happened to
dark
you?
heart. I know.
Yeah, empathy is hard for people with Parkinson's. I think it gets to a point where there's like almost like a rigid wall between us and empathy at times. For other people, like I've just cut people off, and they're not doing what I want them to do. I just tell them what to do, and like my wife's like, "That's so rude." I'm like, "Sorry."
Sorry. Oh well.
Oh well.
So what are you working on now? I know there was a patient council meeting for the Michael J. Fox Foundation. I know PD Avengers is always doing a bunch of stuff, and you're keeping busy. So what's hot on your plate?
Yeah, hot on the plate right now. We have a sleep survey in the field right now. So if you are a person with Parkinson's or a care partner, you can go to PD Avengers and take our sleep survey. And we would really appreciate that. And then we also, the Michael J. Fox Foundation, when we go to those meetings, it's really cool. It's almost like a support group for us because it's
Yeah.
such great people there. But it was really cool this time. We recorded some of it for podcasts.
Oh, good.
Some of our conversation, so people can listen in. And then we also we get updates on how the different drugs are doing and trials and whatnot, and that's always encouraging. And the biomarkers are really the big deal right now.
Yeah, I meant to ask somebody about this. So the last I didn't go to the Team Fox event this year. I sent a friend of ours, Tony, but I went last year, and that's when the biomarker came out about the spinal tap
Yeah.
or spinal
They
fluid.
prefer lumbar puncture.
I know. Yeah, sure. Lumbar puncture. Okay, so the biomarker that you find through that, and I know they said they're like, we obviously have to try and figure out a different way to get it, but at least they know how to get it. Have they gotten anywhere yet with that?
So right now in the field, there's the lumbar puncture, there's a blood test, there's a sebum test, which is the oil on your skin. There's an earwax test, and there's an eye test. And there's also a mitochondria test.
That's a lot of tests.
But so and all of those would show this.
All of those are showing binary yes or no. So what we need to get to is where it goes beyond the binary, so we can track the progress of the disease. So all of them are in their infancy right now, as they try to figure out how do we get it to go from just saying yes, you potentially have Parkinson's, or no, you don't, to you do have Parkinson's, you've had it for 5 years, and you're going to have, you have 5 more years until the symptoms onset or whatever. Because the idea is we want to really identify the people who are prone to getting Parkinson's, but the symptoms haven't onset, so we can then attack the disease and trap it in the body before it onsets.
I know this sounds really weird, but when you said that, if you've had it for 5 years and this is, and then, this are the next symptoms that will come, I almost kind of don't want to know. I don't know. I just thought about that. I'm like, I know what's possible. I don't know if I want to know definitively. I don't know if that's where they'll get to.
I think it goes back to what's going to happen to me, type thing.
Yeah.
When you see somebody else that has had, I'm going on 10 years. And when we talk to somebody else that's been down 10 years, they're like, I didn't start noticing I didn't go downhill until after 10 years. So am I going to start going downhill?
Right. Well, it depends, I think, on a lot of factors like age, your gender, which I know.
Exercise.
And exercise, yeah.
When you're diagnosed, if you're 72 or 52 or 22.
Right. Yeah, because that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, the PD Avengers right now are also I think you kind of caught it there. The women's and Parkinson's is huge right now. And that started about 4 years ago, and it's just gone gangbusters.
So because we're talking to Rochelle as well, Rochelle Flanagan.
Michelle's great.
So is that project that she's doing for the women thing, is that connected to PD Avengers, or is that separate?
She started talking about that right before the World Parkinson Congress in Kyoto, which was 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
At the same time, I was doing my podcast there for the WPC. And I was talking with Amatola Thomas, and she was telling me how women, when they're on their periods, the medicine doesn't work. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, no, it only works 3 of the 4 weeks of a month. I'm like, if that was happening to a guy, we'd have 17 different ways to fix that right now. Like, why am I just hearing about this? And she goes, I don't know, but it's true.
Yeah.
And I started talking to people, and it's like, it's unbelievable. Like, and of course, it makes total sense, but I was flabbergasted. And so I put it on my podcast, and then people started talking about it, and then Rochelle started doing all this research and they're in contests and winning things. Now she's got this big app, which is awesome.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So just understand, if you're a woman with Parkinson's, you're not gonna have the same experience as anybody, but especially not a man.
Nope, sure not. And then her new app is called My Moves Matter, right? I think that's it. Yeah.
Download now.
Yeah, so we're going to talk to her actually today as well, or for other people to be
I just saw her.
Week. Did you?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's right, because was she at the Michael J. Fox?
No, we were just on a conference call together before I hopped on here.
Oh, okay.
It's one big community.
I know. How many people are at the patient council meetings?
We had 30 this time. We have about 30, 39. I think 39 total.
From all over, or?
From the UK, from Canada, and from the USA.
Okay. And they all have Parkinson's.
They all have Parkinson's. Yep.
Are they all like different career backgrounds, or do they look at that?
Yeah. Some of them are actual PhDs that used to focus on neurology that ended up getting Parkinson's.
Wow.
There's some of them are, tech people. Some of them are, like Sergey Brin's mom's on the
Oh yeah.
patient council.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it runs in their family. He's got the gene.
Right, but he doesn't have the symptoms yet,
No.
right? Or he might not.
Might not ever get it.
Right.
And then we had an astronaut till he died, but we had an astronaut there, went into space with Parkinson's.
Wow.
It's all sorts of people. I mean, it's amazing.
That's awesome.
It's such a cool community of people. Because we're such advocates, it's a different experience than from other people who have Parkinson's too, who aren't necessarily out and proud about their Parkinson's.
Right. Did you guys talk about the bill, the National Plan to End Parkinson's Act?
Yes, we had an update from the policy folks. What I can tell you is that they're very bullish. It's going to pass the Senate because right now that's what we're waiting on.
Yeah.
And it could happen before the summer break. If it doesn't happen before the summer break, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen because they're going to have to November which is going to be just sort of like a lame duck session that they're going to have to pass some stuff to show that they've gotten some stuff done. And this will be one of those bills they just shove in there to say, we got it done.
Yeah.
So by the end of the year, we'll have it.
I hope so.
We will. So I'm told.
Reach out to your senators.
We
That's
did
right.
already.
Please.
Ours are on board. We know people who know people.
Yeah.
So that's always helpful. Well, that's awesome. Anything else that you want to share about like what's going on with On Time, that podcast?
The On Time podcast, it's interesting how they do it because they do seasons. And so right now I'm on hiatus until October.
Oh, wow.
So I did 4 episodes. I'll do 4 more episodes in October.
Okay.
So which is a nice load for me. I don't mind that at all. Gives me time to prep for it and whatnot.
Yeah, prep.
But go out and check it out.
Oh
sure.
yeah, I have. Yeah.
And then,
But you just started on it too, right? Just not too long ago.
All of April was me, 4 episodes.
Yep.
And now I'm exhausted, so I'll take 4 months off, and then and then the other thing that I really just want to stress is if you're not a PD Avenger, please go to pdavengers.com and sign up. It's the biggest commitment you're doing is you're committing to receiving an email about once a month saying what's going on in the Parkinson's community.
Yep.
But beyond that, you can be as active as you want to be. We have just last April 11th, we lit up over 300 buildings worldwide blue for Parkinson's awareness and global unity. And that was really cool. And so there's some videos and stuff on the website about that. We got the information for the next WPC in Phoenix coming up.
Oh, good.
So there's a whole page dedicated to that. We just, the more people we have in our corner, the more power we have within the ranks of the health world. So like the WHOs of the world and whatnot.
So the surveys and stuff that you guys put out there, because that's how I find the sleep study and the women's thing. Is that does that get fed into anybody at the Michael J. Fox Foundation? Is it completely separate
It's completely separate now. Except for the women's study was through Michael J. Fox.
Okay.
So we have 2 more to field with them through Fox Insight. If you're a part of Fox Insight. So there's been 2. Both of them had over 3,500 respondents. There'll be 2 more this year. This one is separate. We're doing it in conjunction with AbbVie.
Okay.
And what we're really trying to do is, sleep is such a terrible time for most people with Parkinson's.
I was going to say a bad word.
If you think about how you live your life with Parkinson's, your daytime symptoms and your nighttime symptoms are different. And what disrupts you during the day doesn't disrupt you at night and vice versa.
Right.
Or maybe not. So what we're trying to do is get a handle on, okay, what are the biggest issues for people with Parkinson's when it comes to sleep? And what do they think it is, and what do the care partners think it is?
In sleep
we're going to look for things that are tangible that we can actually attack and try to solve. Because ultimately, we step by step, we have to undo Parkinson's.
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because the goal of the PD Avengers is to end Parkinson's.
Well, and sleep makes it, your symptoms, lack of sleep, I guess you should say, makes your symptoms so much worse.
Oh,
I mean,
it is unbelievable what a good night's sleep can do for you.
Yeah.
So I'm told.
Yeah. When does that happen?
Yeah, right?
My morning naps are great.
Yeah.
I love a nap.
Mm-hmm.
Naps are perfectly fine.
Oh, I know.
The problem I've run into lately is I think I'm going to lay down for a half hour.
Oh,
It's 2 hours.
yeah. Mine's usually an hour to 2.
And I was like, oh. Wait.
Hour to 2 hours, that's fine.
Yeah.
During the
Because
workday.
if you're not getting it at night, get it somewhere.
But you know what's going to really suck is when, because you have a son, right?
Yes.
How old is he?
14.
Okay, so my twins are 14, and I'm like, they're going to be home for the summer, and I'm not going to be able to nap when I want to.
Oh, I just go.
They're old enough now they can go play on their own.
Oh yeah, they can, but then they're going to be like, Mom, we have
Make me
food.
lunch.
Drive me here.
Go
Where
upstairs-
are you?
Go upstairs, shut the door.
I know. I should be like, my office is going to be in my room. Don't bother me. Oh, well, this is a great conversation, Larry. I so appreciate you coming on and just sharing a little bit about your story and all the things that you have going on. And we'll definitely, make sure that we share all of the different links and things that you're a part of, so that, we want all communities, because honestly, like you said, like there's so many things out there. Oh, which reminds me, I did send you an email about this, but there is a new app that it's not out yet. It's called Turn To. And it's basically an app that's collecting through AI and through patient advocates like us, all of the different resources as well as other things. So like research or clinical trials, people's tips and tricks, or videos of something that they tried and things that worked. And it's all it goes through a whole process of people, so it doesn't just get posted just like social media. But it would, if we clicked on this button, it said resources, it would pull up, Michael J. Fox, Parkinson's Foundation, PD Avengers, the World Parkinson's, but like all this stuff would come up based on what's currently out there. So it's, and then it takes you to those locations. But they can only launch once they get like 1,000 people signed up on the wait list.
Million.
So I reached out to a bunch of our advocates in the group, which obviously you're one of them, to check it out and see if you want to share it with your network, because I, for one, I want it. I just love to see, like, is there a new podcast that's out? And it would come up on those resources, because I'm not always searching for new stuff anymore. But
the podcast is interesting. When I started, I kept looking for a podcast from a patient perspective, and there were none.
yeah,
Right.
I said, I guess I got to do it.
you did. You started
So
the trend.
I was listening to Dr. Dorsey from Rochester, University of Rochester, and he goes, if people with Parkinson's don't start sharing their stories, we'll never get enough attention to raise enough money to do enough research to end it.
And that's right.
Well, there's not, like you said, there's not a lot of resources out there. That's probably the number one comment that we get. Like, people saying thank you for, highlighting this or bringing this to my attention or stuff like that, and sharing your stories.
And it's probably all just based on what they Google, and that's why it's like, if there was a one-stop shop that said, here's all the things. And I know we all try and do that with the different websites, but it's like just, make it more like something that looks like Pinterest or Instagram is basically what it looks like. So.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. But, I just, so check out On Time, good podcast. And you still have, all your old ones are still out there, and they're all still relevant.
All the old episodes are up.
Yep.
So go to When Life Gives You Parkinson.
When Life Gives You Parkinson.
And then keep an eye out for the Journal of Parkinson's Disease. I'm writing an article in there.
Are you?
About biomarkers.
Oh, okay.
This summer it'll be out.
Cool. And then sign up for PD Avengers if you haven't, because I love reading those. And I take those surveys when they come through. So
Cool.
It's also a good one.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I know. And hopefully we can connect again sometime soon and have you on again. If you ever have anything that you want to cross-share with, between your podcast and ours, we'd love to have you. So really appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, have some Skyline chili and some White Castle for me.
Well, in our last 30 seconds, I'll leave you with this. Aside from having Skyline, which is an Ohio thing, so sorry everybody else who doesn't know, I will leave you with this. Like Larry said, if we want to talk about this disease, it's up to us. And doing so is what will bring out more advocates and more awareness. And this is what we need. We need the awareness so that people can do the research, we can get the influence and information that's needed out there so that we can find a cure. So with that, thank you all for joining and have a great night.